If you're someone who uses caffeine during your day, I'd recommend switching to Gamer Supps. It's sugar-free, keto-friendly. The plateau that you hit, you go there very quickly, but you stay there for hours and hours. It's got a very smooth sort of tail at the end. It doesn't hard crash. You don't need to use it more than once a year, and you can get 10% off and help me out using the code Thorin, Thorin, at gamesups.gg. Now, this video is about how doing one thing each day with purpose can change your life enormously and bring you, quite frankly, your dreams. This can be the building block of how you can accomplish your dreams. Now, this all comes from a book called The One Thing, which is by Gary Keller with Jay Papasan. And it's a pretty simple book. You actually potentially don't even have to buy or read it if you just listen to this video. I'm going to break down the gist of it. It's one of those sort of like pick it up in the airport, read it on the plane, self-help type books. It's one where, quite frankly, the reason you don't even really need to read it is it's a very simple concept, actually. It's just that they then use lots of examples and different ways of explaining it to fill out the book, to make it a whole book to buy. And then also, in case you're just a bit thick and you don't get the gist initially or you want to see other applications of it, I'm going to go into using my own personal experience and how I've actually integrated this into my system and how I've used this to become prolific and to become very, very successful. Because I would say, I think I got given this book something like 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't a long time ago. I'd done a lot of my streaks before this, but this book has just completely changed, at least the core premise, how I think about structuring my day, using my day, when I do work within the day, etc. So let's get into the concepts here. What this is all about is how do you stay on top of what you want to do today, but then also don't only make today's progress, make longer term progress to bigger goals, to other things, and yet don't only get stuck in today's mini tasks, don't only get stuck in giant tasks that you're only chipping away small at. Figure out how to do things each day that get you to where you need to go today and tomorrow. So the question is, how do you stay on top of what you want to do today, what you want to do tomorrow, and what you want to do in months and years from now, all within one system? Essentially, how do you be prolific? How do you outcompete other people who are your peers and rivals? How do you excel beyond your own current standards of performance and potentially beyond others? Well, there's a very simple premise here, hence why it's called The One Thing. The gist of it is you make a list of things to do. Now, you're already going to think, well, I already know about that. I've already done a to-do list. A to-do list doesn't work for me. This is where psychology enters the fray, though. Now, I've done a past video about another interesting book along these lines called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And the key concept I think that they nail in that book is the idea of resistance, where essentially he externalizes the concept of how your own mind and your desire for comfort and to be lazy and to not have to apply yourself, how that in it, essentially, if you were to externalize that as a force called resistance, that its only aim was to stop you doing productive work, stop you doing the things you want now, stop you getting down to brass tacks, to keep you distracted and putting things off, to procrastinate, to tempt you into it. It's the devil in your ear telling you to procrastinate. That was a brilliant concept introduced. It sort of made people understand. It's not as simple as like, well, I'm a piece of shit because I didn't do it. If you think about it that way, you start thinking up strategies that help you battle it. Like, for example, a core concept there, obviously, is to get going early in the morning and have a set time and not wait during the day and get your best work done while you've got your energy in the day ahead of you. There's a lot of great concepts in that, but we can take that and bring it back now. And the key concept here, psychologically, which we can take from that work, is that you will self-sabotage yourself by finding a hack if you can. If I just say make a to-do list, you will. You've done it in the past, right? You'll make a list and you'll put all sorts of things on there. Big things, small things, things that don't matter, things that are really important, things you should do, things you will do, things you won't do, things you wish you'd do. You'll make this big list. You might even feel satisfied with the list. Like, well, now I've got the list. Like, yeah, oh, I did a couple of things. But you know what you'll do? I can tell you because I've done it myself. You'll just treat each item on the list, this is the key mechanism, like they're of equal value. So you've got 20 things on your list. They're all equally useful. So what you'll do is you'll take your 20 things, and even though one of them will be like, write the first chapter of the novel you want to write. One will be like, open a bank account. One will be like, write a letter to a family member that wrote to you months ago. But you'll go down, and because you've made this list and you're treating it at the moment like they're all just equally valuable, it's not even an ordered list, it's just a to-do list whenever, you'll essentially go down and do like the cheat cheap missions, the whack ones in a game, as it were. Like, you'll go down and you'll post a letter. You'll go and you'll just buy some milk that day. You'll do like 10 minutes walk. You won't do the really important things that you need to do. You won't do the most important things on the list. So as a result, you might say, I did 7 things on my to-do list. Yeah, but your life hasn't meaningfully progressed. And you sort of even know, in a way, you're ripping yourself off, right? So the core concept that attenuates this whole process for this style of list making is radical honesty. Now, some would say it's a superpower I've somewhat developed over my life. A lot of what makes me a good interviewer, analyst, interesting figure in the community, someone can call people, is I have radical honesty. Now, I'm not talking, though, about radical honesty to others, because I'll tell you what, that's a lot easier than being radically honest to yourself. So if you don't have it, you can work on that skill. I would recommend that you learn it and you start to apply it, not for others, for yourself. That's what's going to be the most valuable. Because when you make this to-do list, you're going to make the list, but you are going to be brutally, cynically honest with yourself as to what order the list goes in, and you are going to order it. And the top thing is going to be number 1, and that is going to be where you're going to start with the list every day, and you're going to do number 1. Now look, yes, obviously there will be context, like sometimes number 1 is the most important thing, but for logistical reasons or resource-based reasons, you can't do it till 4 p.m, but it's 11 a.m, now you're doing the list. So maybe it's number 1, but you don't do number 1 first. But the point is, you're going to structure your day so if it can be done, and that's number 1, that is the one that you are going to definitely do, and you're going to plan your whole day around that. Now, this is what's key. Number 1 is going to be the most important thing you can do and must do that day to progress your life, to progress the things you want to do. Number 2 is going to be the second most important, and so on. That's how your list is going to be structured. Now, let me just tell you before we get more into the weeds, if you can only do number 1 with this approach, you will make massive progress in your life. That alone could turn your whole life around. Because I doubt currently, even if you're a fairly productive person, that you do the most important thing you could do each day, even every 2 or 3 days. Never mind every day. And I might even be generous then. Maybe you do it once a week. Maybe you put things off, you shift things around, you take a break here. Well, I did some small things there. I can get to that. I can push that deadline. I doubt most people do it even once a week. Imagine doing just the most important thing each day, right? You'll already be beating other people and becoming prolific. Not least, by the way, because first of all, within each week, you will have 7 of your number 1 things done. And obviously, if this list is one where there's not things getting added every day that are super important, actually, what was number 2 on Monday might become number 1 on Tuesday by doing this system. And even if you don't get more than number 1 done on Monday and Tuesday, you've now got number 1 and number 2 from Monday done by the end of Tuesday, right? So as a result, with this method, you will just very quickly burn through the most important things you must do, and without any of the guff, without any of the tricks towards yourself. And so that's if you just do your number 1 thing each day. If you can do your top 3 things in your whole day, you will not only succeed and change your life, you will be prolific and you will impress others and yourself. You will feel very satisfied. You'll feel like you're making progress in life, like you can tackle any challenges, small, medium or large now, whether they can be done today, tomorrow, in the future. You'll feel like you've got an approach to doing that, and you can always catch up. If you've had a bad few months or you've been slacking, you can get back onto this approach and you can start burning through all the important things and seeming like a person who is capable, who gets things done. And if you can somehow do your top 5 each day, you will transcend to a level beyond me or anywhere else. You will be godlike. You will change your life. You'll change the world around you, around your family, your friends, your circuit. You will just become unrecognizable within months, within years. You will seem superhuman. You're only doing 5 things a day. It's only 5 things a day. Still, we're not even talking about doing the whole list. No one's doing the whole list. So to me, there's another factor here, and I'll give you some little tips of how I've learned to do this. 1 is literally rewrite the whole list each day. Because first of all, it allows you to reorder the list, like you've done number 1 or number 2 on the past. So you're going to make new number 1, number 2. You're going to do that. Also, items are going to change based on the timing, what day it is, what resources are available, who is available to help you with it. Is there some factor like a government thing you're waiting on, or a bank thing you're waiting on, or it's the weekend and it's a work day thing I have to do? You're going to shift things around day by day anyway. Also, each time you rewrite it, it's going to make you remember it again in a very useful way. I find physically writing things out and looking at them and reading them and thinking them imprints them doubly, triply, quadruply in my mind and gives them like a memory that they wouldn't have if I just saw them on a page each day. Because when you see the same static thing over and over again, it's very easy to just skip the parts you're not focused on, or to just see it with your peripheral and ignore it. And also you're going to try and slack here, aren't you? Because it's going to be about being productive, so you're probably going to just look away. This way you're forced every day to re-encounter all the things you want and need to do. So not only does it make you rethink what should the order be, maybe this should go up, actually I'm never going to get it done otherwise, or actually this has to get done within a week, so you can do for the medium and the longer term stuff, right? You just move it up as it's appropriate, but you have it on the list so you know eventually it needs to get done, and then each time you're looking at the day, you're looking at the list, you're reordering it, and then you're doing your list again, and you're going out and you're making sure things move into the target zone, as it were. Also, it'll help you figure out things you don't actually need. Like you might find a few weeks in, especially when you've done some small things, maybe I didn't need one of these bigger things, I can just take that off now. Actually, it wasn't that important. When I looked at things, I've triaged. It's not even something I'm going to do. I've got more important things to do. Also, you can update your list then with new things, with things that you want to just catch up on with people. Then, how about this? You're going to think, how does it tie in though when it's not something you're doing today, but it's on the list? See, that's key. Because I find it's also very useful to have a longer list than just 5 or 10 things, and to have medium-term stuff on there. So each day when I get up and I rewrite my list, I see it, and then I consider, like I said, what needs to actually... before it was a medium-term thing, like a few weeks, a month or two. Now it's getting closer. Now I actually need to eventually do this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it on Thursday. So on Thursday, I'll move it into the target zone. That could be top 3, could be top 5, could be number 1 if I need to get it done. Whatever it is, you'll learn your own process, your own method, how much you tend to get done each day, and you'll start to integrate this, and you'll actually make real plans that can help you get things done. And it also means you don't forget smaller things like get back to this colleague over a work idea, like promise to like hook up with this person and do something for them. Like, oh, I want to buy this thing, not today, but within the next few weeks, or to get this thing, or research this topic. You'll have those things on the back burner that you can still check in on, whereas they might get lost if they were just fleeting, just an idea, or they weren't something you're going to do today because you get caught up in the rest of your life. For the longer term stuff, I would suggest don't just put it on there. Don't put like learn to drive. You break it down into steps. So one would be like, research driving lessons. You'll move that up in a month or something. Then another one might come along. It might be like apply for the provisional license, get some initial like ask your parents to give you a free little clap, whatever it might be. You'll start to put stuff on there, but you'll put the smaller tasks that lead to the bigger goal over time, so that by doing a few of these in 6 months or a year, now one becomes like get a car, which was the end goal anyway, but you know what, in a position where it can be done. If it just did is drive a car, like it'll never get up on the list. The system won't work itself out. So whatever that might be, so if, for example, you want to live in another country, well, you know what, then you're probably going to have to renew your passport, or you're going to have to check what the documents are. If you want to go somewhere 3 months, you're going to have to plan, you're going to have to save up in advance, you're going to have to figure out what currency you need. There's all sorts of smaller things you can put on there. Now, if you do it my approach, this list is going to be long. And I think that's a good thing. Like it could be as high as 30, 40, could be 50 or 60 entries long, depending on how much stuff and how many people you've got in your life. But you can always trim it by picking half a day, doing a bunch of your real things, top 2, 3, 4 things, and then put aside half a day in a week and just run through small items that you would never put into your top 3, your top 5, but they're smaller things. You could get them done, but you're doing this after you've done your work. So you're not going to cheat and do these as your number 1, number 2 things. You're going to do these as well. You're going to make sure they get done overall later on. And as a result, you're going to get loads of stuff done. By the way, spoiler, just like they say in the War of Art, getting your number 1 thing done as soon as you can in the day, like a key piece of work, a piece of creative work, is going to make you feel so incredible, because it's about how you manage your time and your energy. That's a massive part of being prolific and doing work, and even understanding, I'd say, your own physiology, what your diet is, your exercise. So to me, that's the core question, is how are you managing your time and your energy? Like, as a sidebar, I think that's what each day is about to me. I almost feel like I have a HUD, a heads-up display, and I know roughly how much energy I've got on a bar, and as the day goes along, I can sort of check in as though I had like an internal dipstick. I've only got like half left or something. Or I'll do something, I'll go, ooh, that really tapped me, actually. I've probably got like one more thing I can do today before I'm done. Or I get the first thing done of the day, I feel great. Actually, you know what, maybe I can do a couple more things. I've got a bunch of hours ahead of me now, especially because you're not procrastinating. So you're not having that gnawing feeling, I should be doing this, I've already wasted that time, I've burned that time, I've got to get done the next half. That's what kills you. That's what makes your current amount of time and energy you're using now feel wasted, or you burn through it more, or the stress gets to you. So I think you can do things that obviously change how much time and energy you have. You can change your diet, you can change your exercise, you can have mindfulness exercises or meditation. These things, having play sessions and reading sessions, these things can all attenuate how much energy you've got, when you've got energy. By the way, also obviously the gamer subs, isn't there? By the way, there's a reason I never take more than one of these in a day. If I've taken one and I haven't got all the stuff done, I either didn't plan my day well or I've already used my energy for that day. So we'll get to it on the list tomorrow. So you plan this all out on this list. And here's the reason that you're going to do so many of these things. Because you probably think you're lazy, but you're not. You just didn't manage your energy. So you probably think you're lazy because what you do is this. You put off what you know you should do or you want to do, but just feels tougher than doing something fun or more mild or medium level difficulty now. You burn through your day, and then when you've got half an hour left or an hour left, or to the end of your day, you go, right, I really should do that. And then you go, no, I don't want to. I'm just lazy and a piece of shit, and I'm just procrastinating. I'm sabotaging myself. But it's like, no. The real problem was that you put it off until you were tired, and then when you were tired, the tired version of you made a bad decision or was more likely to make a bad decision and sabotaged your day. If you'd have done it first in the day, right after your breakfast, after your first meal, after you get going for the day, you would then feel like, wait, I've got the number one most important thing done in the day, and now the whole day is ahead of me. I can plan. Do I go hard at number 2, 3, 4? Do I do number 2 and then number 8, a smaller thing? Do I just take the afternoon off? Do I do some exercise? Do I have a nice meal? Use all sorts. There's that amazing feeling when you get the first thing done first in the day of the whole day just opening before you, and suddenly a day seems enormous. There's that great quote by Nietzsche that says, when one has much to put in them, a day has 1,000 pockets. Here's the key. I have grinded. I've done that for years and years and years. You don't even have to. You can get more accomplished with this method than just pure grinding, I'm telling you. And also, it means that when you have nothing left in the tank and you've done your big things, then you can go and search for a small item that you can just knock off the list for extra satisfaction, or to just have less on the list, or to just feel like cherry on the cake, on the top, icing on the cake. This is just awesome. It's all about habits. Like, this is building a habit where each day your brain's going to remember at the beginning of the day, because you're going to see the old list to write the new list. You're going to get into the habit of crossing things off the list once they're done. That's a very satisfying feeling. You're going to get the feeling like your goals and your tasks are kept somewhere, so you don't have to have them constantly in your mind. That's one of the great things about writing things down. You free your mind to sort of let go of them for a second and not grasp onto them so you don't forget them. And it also means that if you were out and about, you could put this on your phone if you wanted to. I prefer the memory effect of writing on a physical piece of paper, but you could have it out and about, so you could be updating as you're on the go, as you're different places, you're not at a computer, you're not at home. You can always feel like you're on top of what you're doing overall. And this is all just from a book called The One Thing. It's quite a simple concept, but I'm telling you, if you apply it in this way, if you choose to apply it in a stupid other way, more fool you will get results. At least I got results. Here at Thorin's side, I have people on my side, both literally and metaphorically, because this video and all of the content on my channel is kindly supported by my Patreon community. Would you like to get teasers for my upcoming content and see who the next guests are for my interview series? Do you want to ask me a question in my monthly video AMA? Maybe you want to select between the topics I'm going to do for my next solo video, or perhaps you are excited by the idea of a private, exclusive, never to be published personal discussion with yours truly. Well, if so, heed this call to action and join Thorin's side today via the Patreon link in the description box below.